You can cut this out later,
Sure.
but this is just one of those how-to points.
Yeah.
When you think about the nature of how you do business,
Mm-hmm.
there's a company, a family, a group that owns a company.
Mm-hmm.
Very few companies in our country today
Mm-hmm.
still have what's called an employee stock ownership plan.
What does that mean?
It basically means that the employees own a percentage or
Oh.
all of the company's share in stock.
Okay.
And so that was something that started to emerge
Mm-hmm.
some years back. And that idea, I've always been a supporter and proponent of. I think it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
The next stage of just another derivative of that same kind of concept in a way
Mm-hmm.
is co-op.
Mm.
So you have co-ops.
Okay.
You have them in farming and agriculture,
Mm-hmm.
but you have them also in banking, kind of like with credit unions. And so any industry, some are a little more easier or maybe more inclined to be able to support it and work effectively with it.
Mm-hmm.
Other industries, businesses might be a little bit more challenged.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, I think if it wasn't maybe most suitable
Mm-hmm.
to use a co-op type model, then I think the employee stock ownership approach could easily address the same issue. The benefit to that is that you have higher incentives across the board with all levels of staff to literally participate to get a higher level of commitment, engagement, loyalty, retention, which is an enormous issue.
Because everyone's got skin in the game now.
They've got skin in the game, but they're really being rewarded now at a level that better merits their contributions
Yeah.
and their worth. And if you were to side by side these numbers, take a company that is an ESOP based group against a company that's not over a 10-year period and look at where they've done in their same industry, same sector, preferably even same market. So you get apples to apples. More often, they're going to outperform their competition. And so it just, even from a standpoint of providing better service and being a little bit more in that first of class market, you see that those folks, because they really start to understand what in their business practice creates the highest value, customer loyalty, and provides the kind of relationship or benefit to the community and customers, the stakeholders that they're providing, when they start to really understand, appreciate, and know that more intimately, their ability to execute over time just continues to increase and get better because they really start to understand not just my role, my function, my job, what I do, but they have a better understanding and a respect for what the entire operation is about and how they play and fit into creating something and providing something that's really an excellent value and service.
No, that makes sense. It's like their performance is directly indicative of their reward, which makes sense. And then also they're a more vital part of the company because now they own stock. And if you're going to give out stock or valuation of the company, you're going to be more intentional as a business owner as to who you hire for what. That makes sense.
Well, that's a really critical piece that you mentioned, and not to let it pass too quickly. But I also believe that you do look for and you hire differently. And I think the internal processes for hiring are different in those companies than others. Because when you're sitting there, not as someone, I'm not saying you did, but in a traditional way of thinking about how a director or VP would hire for someone in the company or a manager, you have a certain set of ideas in your mind of here's who I'm looking for, and this is the kind of employee that I want. In the same sense, if you're a partner at a law firm and you're interviewing somebody, now that person might be fairly junior out of college, but you're still looking at that person and saying, if they're here in 10 years, Do I want to see him walking down the hallway? Is that somebody that I want to invest my time, my energy, give life to in order to help them become partner? Now, we all know that you're not going to give more than a passing thought to that idea, but you can't help but think that that partner sitting there looking at that guy or gal who just came out of, pick a law school that you like, and they're sitting there interviewing and they're going through their brief and discussions and having conversations and thinking, wow, they're really bright. They're sharp. Okay. I like that. Love their strategy. Like the perspective. Really good. Okay. And then there's that other side of, well, how would they fit into our culture? How would they fit into the community that we have here? And that's natural. Whether you ask the question toward that direction or not as a material, you're thinking the question the whole time you're doing your interview. For the same way you've got these staff as part of a ESOP program, they're not just looking for someone who's going to work on an assembly line or be next to them in the office in the accounting department. They're going to look for somebody of, if we do this and we're incentivizing them and it's coming out of our pool of stock ownership, do I want to share that percentage of our pool? And do I think that that person is going to come to work every day and add to the value that's in my pool? Or are they going to take from it because they're just going to come and do their job and go home because they want to punch a 9 to 5? Or are they going to bring a different ethos or energy or excitement to the office or to our department or to our project? And that's a whole different feeling, even if it's emotional, psychological, than it is from a practical standpoint of, can you do the work?
Sure.
Those other soft and intangible things all of a sudden mean infinitely more at the end of the interview, even if you answered the same questions that the candidate just before you did.